I think
Okay, good morning, everyone. We are ready to get started. Thank you for joining. This morning, Grow with Google, Deming Bass will be presenting Learn the Basics of Google Ads. So we are looking forward to the presentation. Just a few quick housekeeping items. Everyone is muted. To ask a question, use the Q&A or the chat box, and we will monitor that throughout the workshop. At the end of the workshop, I will be sending out a recording and the presentation to everyone that's registered. So be looking for that. There will also be a questionnaire sent out to provide feedback on the content. My name is Lori Stein, and I am a SCORE volunteer. For those of you who are not familiar with SCORE, we are 100% volunteer-based, and we are a resource partner for the SBA. Our two main functions are providing one-on-one mentoring to small businesses. We have a group of volunteers that are very experienced that can help you with just about anything that you need related to starting a small business. We also provide these educational workshops, and I will get into more at the end of the presentation, but you can access our website, piedmont.score.org, and you can see all this content. And we are here to help small businesses. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Deming.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Lori. And I'm excited to be here with you guys for a fantastic presentation all about Google Ads, a little bit about me. But first, I do want to thank Lori in the SCORE Piedmont chapter. If you're not familiar with SCORE, definitely check them out wherever you're from. I think most of you are right there in that Piedmont area of South Carolina. You might be coming in from some other places. But the thing that I love about them, that don't take for granted that mentoring and the consulting that they offer, because they are tremendous resources, and it shows you that you don't have to kind of try to figure everything out on your own. You've got some great people that have been there before you. And I always recommend kind of looking into and finding your local tribe and your local sense of community. So big fans of SCORE, and Lori has done an amazing team with her leadership team there and all the volunteers there. A little bit about me. You can see I've been a Grow with Google trainer since the start of the program in 2017. My background is marketing and branding. I was a chamber executive in the Research Triangle in Georgia, and also was with Constant Contact, the email marketing company, leading efforts across 6 states. And actually, I need to update this. It's not 30,000, it's 130,000 folks that I've trained. So that's why I love being able to jump in here and share with you some great tips. We're going to walk away today by the time that we wrap this up, and you're going to have confidence in how to create a really effective and strong advertising campaign on Google. And some of you may have come to this webinar with a lot of doubts and a lot of questions. And for a lot of people, advertising can be intimidating, especially online, because you're having to put some money out there, right? And so you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. Am I going to make my money back? Am I just going to waste my money? Is it going to work? All these questions are going on in your mind. You're probably thinking, also, I'm not an advertising guru. I'm not like Mad Men or anything like that. And I'm not very technical. So a lot of times for most small and medium-sized businesses, especially if you're just getting started, it can feel intimidating and overwhelming. But I'm going to show you today how it doesn't have to be that way. It's actually fairly simple and easy, especially with some really cool things that Google has done to make it more understandable, and I wouldn't say foolproof, but almost foolproof, and automate your marketing. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what it means to advertise on Google, like why you might want to think about that. The meat of the presentation, though, is going to be about if you haven't set up an ad account, I'm going to walk you through that, but how to improve, how to create really great ads, and show you how it all works, and something that's called also specifically smart campaigns that are really going to help you out. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can actually measure your success. So you're going to know you're not going to be wasting any of your dollars, and you're going to know that your ad campaign is working. And then most importantly down here, make sure you stick around because, and this is perfect for this presentation, but I do have some a link for free matching ad credit that you can use if you want to try out a campaign. More importantly, I've got some great resources that you can do a deeper dive into marketing and advertising. But the one thing that I always like to say on these webinars is that everything I'm about to teach you, it's not academic, it's not theoretical. Everything is literally step by step, very practical. All of this is basically free except for whatever you pay for the ad campaign, and you can do it in a relatively short amount of time, within 30 minutes to an hour. So that's what I love about this, because if it's too overwhelming and too complicated, nobody does it. Right? And our goal is to have you do this and you will see success and see results. So with that, let's jump in and let's talk a little bit about what does it mean to advertise on Google, and why might companies want to do that. So, the thing that I also say a lot of times when I'm teaching these classes is that don't listen to me and don't believe Deming, and don't listen or believe Google, even though we've got lots of stats here. Think about your own life experience, right? Think about how many times when you're looking for something, you go online to find it, right? But we do have some interesting stats here. We have almost 50% of shoppers surveyed said that they use Google. They go to the search page to discover or find a new item or product, right? Which I'm like, it's only 50%, right? Think about how many times when you're thinking about something or thinking about a product or something or service, and you see something, and we immediately just pull up our smartphone or our tablet or whatever, and we go look for it. And then 60% of shoppers surveyed said that they use Google to research a purchase that they actually plan to go and make in store or online. So think about how many times have you looked into products or services, and then a lot of times you may buy it online, but a lot of times, especially coming out of COVID and during COVID, you'll go to the location to actually get it. I literally just did this the other day for like Halloween stuff, right? And I didn't have time for it to be shipped to me. So I was looking for something, and then I was looking for stores nearby where I could go and pick it up. And again, if somebody finds you and they find your ad and they are ready to go get it and they're trying to get there, guess what? When they get there, they're probably going to buy. So keep that in mind. So how do ads work on Google search? Okay, so let me walk you through the basics of this. It all starts, right? And again, think about the whole presentation, think about your own experience, but it all starts in that moment, we call it micro moment, that triggering moment where suddenly someone wants to find something, right? Your kids say something, your friends or your spouse say something, you read something, you hear something. Now you want to find out more about that, right? So again, what did most of us do? We go to Google and we go to the search page, we type in our search query, right, of what we're looking for, we hit enter. And then when we hit enter, the search page comes up, but at the very top of the search page are the ads. And so what's happening, and what you can do too, no matter how small you are or big you are, you can bid for opportunities to show the relevant ads based on that search query. Okay. So if I'm, we got Christmas and the holidays coming up. So maybe I'm searching for a friend who loves food, right? A foodie. So I'm typing in gifts for foodies, and then an ad shows up that's targeting foodies, right? And you're targeting a specific product or service. Maybe it's a how to cook workshop or something like that. And it's going to be the very first thing that they see there at the top. Okay, so that shows up at the very top. And then the beauty, and we'll talk more about this, of Google ads or online ads on search is that there's a couple things actually that makes it different from any other type of advertising, really. Number one is it does directly tie in your product and service with exactly your target audience and what they are searching for in that moment when they are ready to buy. If you think about that, right? That's one thing. The other thing that's really cool is that you don't pay a dime unless they click on your ad, or you can have it set up, as you'll see in a second, you can set it up where they can call you. They can click from their smartphone and they can call you, which is really cool, right? So all those times, and I always say this, which is so true, right? You wouldn't expect me to say it, but it's true. think about all the times you do a search. You do a search and then we see all the ads at the top and it says ads. And then we skip over the ads, right? Because we're like, I'm not paying attention to that. That's propaganda, right? I'm going to come down to the organic search results. Well, all those times you skip or I skip or somebody skips over your ad when you run it, they didn't pay a dime. And you don't pay a dime. You don't pay when they see the ad. You only pay when they click on the ad or when they call, which is pretty cool. But what's happening, those are called impressions when people see it, but you don't pay for it, is building up your brand and your equity. So there's a lot of different ad formats out there that you can run. Today, we're going to focus on text ads, okay? But there are text ads, there are image ads. So some of you have probably used these tabs across the top. Some of you, as I'm pointing this out, you're like, oh, they've always been there. I never noticed they were there. But there's a shopping tab. You can have ads that run in the shopping. People can click for shopping. People can click and search images, and you can have ads that run there. It's pretty cool. Lots of different ads, videos on YouTube, you name it. And what we're going to talk about, though, today are going to be the text ads. And that's what you see. These are shopping ads that go across the top with more detail and images. And then text ads are the ones that are text ads with the ads. So I'm going to walk you through how to create a great ad campaign involving text. But everything that I'm sharing with you is going to be relevant if you do choose to run any other type of ad campaign. So this is what obviously a text ad looks like. And again, we know they're ads because they always say ads. And each of these text ads and what you'll be able to create is a headline. You can have a headline here, Central Spices, order spices online. And then this is what we call a description. And as you're going to see in a little bit, you're going to be able to have 3 headlines and 2 descriptions, and Google will rotate those out and find the best mix and match for you. And then you also have the ability to add and we'll talk more about this, called ad extensions, which go to certain different pages of your website, wherever you want to send them. And again, Google automates that as well. But again, the key idea here is that basically you're bidding in real time with other companies, that your ad shows up, and the cost of the click or the cost of the call will all depend on what that word or the phrase or the keyword keywords that they type in. The more popular it is, the more expensive it'll be. So for example, your ad, it may be $1.25 per click, or it may be $5.25 per click or call. Okay, so it really just depends on that. But you'll be, as you're going to see, you're going to know what those amounts are, and you're going to have a budget that you'll never go over that budget. So you don't have to worry about that. And I'll talk more about that in a second. So if you're ready to get started, if you don't know, you're starting from scratch, you'll want to set up your Google ad account. But before you do that, you need to make sure that you're signed in with your Google account. Okay. Now your Google account is absolutely free. If you're wondering, Deming, do I have a Google account? Well, if you have a Gmail email address, that's your Google account. Or if you have a Workspace email account, that's your user account, and you have a password associated with it. So to sign into your Google account, you'll go to, and most of you are probably already signed in. You may not even know it, but if you would go to google.com, and up in the top right, you'll see a sign in button. You'll click on that. And then here, this is where you'd plug in your email and then your password. If you don't have a Google account, or you're not sure, you can always create one for free. So you just come down here and you click create account, or down here on the bottom left, you can go to accounts.google.com/signup. Okay. And you can basically, and you can even, if you have another email already, like a work email, you can make that your Google account username. The reason this is important, and the reason you need to do this before you go and create your Google ad account, is that this is how Google knows that you and only you are the one responsible for that ad account, right? So you will be allowed to go in and create and edit and run the ad campaigns, and nobody else can do that. All right. And then the other thing, when you're signed in with your Google account, this is how you're able to go in and out of all of Google's products and services. So this is how you're able to do browse. You can check your Gmail, you can go to your calendar, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Photos, Drive, Docs, Slides, all of that without having to log in, log out every single time. All right. So once you are logged into your Google account, you're going to want to go here to g.co/ads. It's going to pull up the website you see here. You're going to see the Start Now button, and you're basically going to click on here and follow the prompts, put in your basic information and your billing information. And I'm going to walk you through this. But a couple of things to sort of note that sometimes people forget or they assume. You can go here and you can create your ad account and never run an ad campaign. Okay, so you can create your ad account today and there's no contracts, you're not locked in, you don't have to run an ad. As you're gonna see, you can start an ad, you can stop an ad anytime you want. So you can start paying and then you can stop it at any time. So you're not locked into any sort of agreements or contracts or anything like that. The only thing you pay for is when you actually run a campaign, as you're going to see. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of the steps as you're getting started, and then we're going to jump into how to create some great ads. So the first step when you come in is to select an advertising goal. And by the way, this is really important. And I love this. Again, I don't know who came up with this idea at Google, but it was brilliant. You remember I talked about at the beginning how so many of us are, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to want to do this. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what keywords to use. I'm just completely winging it, right? So Google knows that. So what they started doing, what they've done is they've created what's called a smart campaign. And smart campaigns are the solution for helping small businesses or first-time advertisers or people that are kind of new to this and they're not really sure, to help them create a great campaign. And the way that Google does this, again, this is brilliant, is if you think about it, I don't know what you do, I don't know your product or service, no matter how small you are, how big you are, there have literally been thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of ad campaigns, right, that have been run through Google by companies just like you with products and services just like you, right? So what's happening as those ads are running, behind the scenes, Google is collecting, that you have all that data. And so Google's able to analyze that and then take all of that information so that they can now share that with you as the potential advertiser who's never done this before. So as you walk through here, and you go through the step-by-step process, they will give you prompts that will guide you because they know who your target audience is based on your product or service company. They know, they're going to know what are the keywords, what are the words or the phrases that people would search. And then they're going to know, and as you'll see in a second, through what's called machine learning and all this sort of stuff, which we won't get into, it's too technical, but they're going to know and be able to test out what are the headlines, what are the ads, the combination of descriptions that work the best, that are getting the most engagement and the most clicks. And so behind the scenes, without you having to do a thing, Google is automatically improving your ad campaign. And it's again, not completely foolproof, but it really does tee you up to have a strong ad campaign from the beginning without making mistakes. All right. So let me jump in and I'm going to walk you through exactly how all of this works. So the first thing that it does is it starts with the beginning, like everything. What is your main advertising goal? So as we go through this, I want you to write down, even though this is a webinar, take notes, but think about for your next ad campaign, or maybe it's your first one, what do you want your main advertising goal to be? Don't just wing it. Don't just say, I want to try run some ads and jump into the creative. What is your goal? When you come and you're setting up your campaign, you're going to have three options. Number one, I want to get more phone calls. Okay, maybe that's your goal. Number two, you may want to, and by the way, you would pick one of these. Number two, for your next ad campaign, I want to get more website sales or signups. So this means when they click, they're going to go to a page wherever you want to send them to on your website. Up here, when it says get more calls, that means when they click from their smartphone, they're going to call you directly. Okay. And then down here, if you have a physical location, it may be, I want to get more visits to my physical location. So when these ads run, when they click, it's basically on Google Maps and it's giving them directions to your physical location. All right. So you're going to want to pick one of these advertising goals. So maybe write it down as you're thinking through this. And then the next question is, okay, give us your business name. So you want to put in your business name. And the important thing here is put in your business name as your customers and your prospects know you, right? So if you're like a LLC or something doing business as, it's probably going to be the doing business as, right? So, and just remember, because this is the name that's going to be showing up on all of your ads. Next, it's going to ask you to add your website address. Now, this is important. This is really important. And if you're not writing anything down, write this down. Put an asterisk, big fat asterisk, okay? Because with smart campaigns, like I said, they're going to take a lot of the thinking out of it and almost foolproof it. But this is the one thing that will make or break a campaign. If you have a goal, the goal is selected where you want people to click and go to your website, right? You are going to link your ad to a specific page on your website, okay? This is where people go. When they click the ad, where do they go? My guess is, and the best ad campaigns, it's probably not going to be your homepage. It may be, but it may not. And here's the reason why. You want to make sure that whatever the message is in your ad, whatever you're selling, like whatever that specific message is, that whatever page you send them to matches up exactly with that ad. If you don't do this, if you have a specific message and then it just goes to your homepage, which is kind of general and vague about all your products and services, they're going to click, you're going to pay whatever that was, they're going to come to your homepage and they're probably going to leave and not do anything. And that's not doing you any good. You want them to see a message with the promise that they can click. When they click, they go to exactly the page which delivers on that promise. And in one more click, they can buy it, right? Or in one more click, if you're service oriented, like a consultant, they can schedule that appointment or they can get that quote. Okay, this is so important. So let me give you an example. I love salt. Everybody that knows me knows I just pour salt on everything. I know it's not healthy, but I don't have a sweet tooth. I love salt. So if I see an ad that says 25% off Himalayan sea salt, when I click on that ad, what am I expecting to see right away? The Himalayan sea salt, 25%, how I can get it. But imagine I see an ad for Himalayan sea salt, 25% off. I click on it, and then I come to the homepage right here of thespicehouse.com. And I see all this information about, we've got 32,000 different types of specialty spices from all over the world. We've been in business for 50 years. We are amazing. And I don't see, where is my Himalayan sea salt? And now I have to go search for it. Guess what? I bounce, I leave. I'm not going to do that. Does that make sense? So make sure the message, what you're selling, as you're going to see, the headline, the description, ties in directly with what's on your page. And the more specific you can be in your ad, the more successful you're going to be, okay? So rather than like the broad ad about broad services, think about niche services or products that you can sell and deliver on. So the next step is, now you're coming in here and now you're going to be able to write your ad, okay? So again, we're focusing on text ads. As you're writing your ad, you're going to have 3 options. You're going to be able to put in 3 different headlines. Okay, these are very short, 30 characters or less, so very short. And then you're able to write 2 different descriptions, okay? And the purpose of this is going to allow you to kind of, a real technical term in the marketing and advertising world is called A/B testing. And all that means is basically you're testing out which headline works the best, which description works the best. And again, you don't have to worry about all that. Behind the scenes, Google will start noticing there'll be mixing and matching these, and which one is getting the most clicks and the most engagement. And then it'll start automatically showing that version up. Okay, so it's designed to drive, again, take the thinking out and help you have a successful campaign. As you're creating your headlines and your descriptions, you're going to see over here on the right exactly what that's going to look like. So that's pretty cool. You'll see as you're editing it, you're going to see what it's going to look like. Then down here at the bottom, you're going to have the option to show a call button in your ad. So this is where if you want people to click and then give you a call, that's going to be this option. And for those of you, especially service oriented, I highly recommend it. It's crazy how if you set this up, you're going to start getting calls, and you'll get the calls and there'll be like a little message saying where it's coming from, coming from Google Ads. So you'll see in real time. That's why whenever I share this, I'm not just making stuff up. You're going to see in real time, this thing actually works, right? And then it's up to you. Of course, at that point, you've got to close the deal. So you have that option to show the call button. The next step is, and this again takes that thinking out where, people always like, what sort of keywords do I use? I have no idea. Well, Google does, right? Because of those thousands of ad campaigns. So based on your product or service, they're going to show you. So, again, if we're creating the Spice House, now when you get to keyword themes, Google is going to show you themes that it recommends that Google thinks will be the best keyword themes that match up with your product and service. Okay. Now, what keyword themes are, it's kind of like these big umbrella groups where then you don't have to think about the specific language, words, phrases. Google is then going to automatically pick up, they're going to know all the different versions of how people search for savory spices or organic spices. And so it'll pick up on all of that without you having to do that. And you can select which themes you want. You can say, I don't want those. And you can even put in your own keyword themes as well. But this is going to help you match to the related services without you having to actually be an expert in figuring out the right keywords. Next, you're going to be able to select the location. And this is something Google added because this was another thing that would trip people up the first time. They wouldn't think about it. They would create their ad campaign and then run it. And then guess what? Their ads running all over the place, like the country. And sometimes you don't want that to happen, right? So you can select a location. So it'll force you, okay, where do you want to run your ad? And you can include zip codes, you can include cities or regions or an area near an address. You can create a radius like you see right here. I am a big fan, especially if you're just starting out. Again, you're going to be more successful with your ad campaign if you are niche-y, like if you go right at a specific product or service and keep your ads in a tight area, okay? Think about it this way. Don't think about how all the people all over the world can find you. Think about how you can own like a 30-mile radius of wherever you're located, even if you sell products all over the country, right? Think about how you can run an ad campaign right there within a 30-mile radius. Keep that tight. And again, the more tight, the more specific you can be, the more focused you can be, the more likely your ads are going to show up with the right people at the right time. And then if you do want to run ad campaigns across other areas, you can click on that, and then you can have your ad campaigns run in other cities and communities. Then the next step is to set up a budget, okay? So when you come to this page, you're going to see a page like this, and basically you're going to be offered up 3 different options of a daily budget. So this is their, again, recommended based on your product or service. What is the recommended budget? And they'll give you 3 different versions. They'll have a recommended one. And as you toggle over these 3 options, over here on the right, it's going to show you, okay, how many estimated daily clicks do we think you're going to get based on spending that much? Okay, so for example, we've highlighted this $10 daily average. For $10 a day, Google estimates that you're going to get between 15 and 26 clicks. Okay. And then you can go up on that. You can go down on that. But again, the recommended for this particular advertiser is $10 daily average. From this amount, from the $10 daily average, it's going to create for you a maximum monthly budget. Okay. So let's say you click $10 daily average. Okay. And let's say there's 30 days in the month. That means the most that you will spend during that month is going to be $300, right? And the way that works, because going back, remember it's pay-per-click, pay-per-call. What that means is however many clicks and whatever the cost of that ad is, $1.50, $2.50, whatever it is, when those clicks or calls get up where you've spent the $300, it'll automatically shut off. So you never have to forget about or worry about how much you're going to spend. It's never going to go over that amount. Now you can always go in if you're having a lot of success, you can raise that amount. And then the other thing that is awesome down here is you can always change or pause it at any time. So you could be all excited about this webinar today and be like, damn it, this is awesome. I'm going to go create an ad campaign today. I'm going to spend $500, in November or $500 in December for the holidays. And you can create your ad campaign and you can launch it and you can start spending some money. And then guess what? 3 days from now, you could be like, you know what? I'm going to pause that. I'm going to spend that money on Christmas presents, right? And so you can stop it and then you don't spend it anymore else. And then you can always pick it back up in January or February or March or anytime you want. So you can start it at any time. The other thing is you're going to see is you can edit those headlines, those descriptions, those ads, those campaigns. You can go in at any time and make any of those changes and play around with it and see what works for you and what doesn't. And then finally, that gives you the opportunity when you've gotten to that point, now you're going to be wrapping it up. So you'll be able to review the campaign. This is where now you would put in your payment information of how you would pay for those ads. And then you can set up optional conversion tracking. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. When you set up optional conversion tracking and you link your Google ads to like Google Analytics on your website, this is how you're going to know from start to finish the number of impressions, the number of clicks. And then when they click, guess where they go? Your website. And the baton is handed off to Google Analytics. And then you can see they went to that page, then they went to my shopping cart page and they bought. And so you'll even be able to see how much money you made on that. So let's talk a little bit about managing your ad campaign a little bit, because again, this is what I love about these types of campaigns. You will see in real time, is your ad campaign working or not? And what are the adjustments you need to make? And this is how you're going to know if you're measuring your marketing and are you making money or not. So in Google Ads, you're going to be able to go back in and you're going to be able to see and review the performance of your ad campaigns. So you can always, like I said, go back in and edit those keyword themes and those phrases. You can always go back in and edit the ads. You can write additional ads. You can always go back in and control where that location, when, this is the other thing, when you want your ads to appear. This is a big one too. Put an asterisk down here. When is important too, depending on what your business is, right? You may only want your ads to show, especially like, let's say you have it set up where they're going to call you. Well, you don't want your ad running at 2 a.m. on a Thursday morning when people are calling you in the middle of the night. So, it may be that you only want your ads to run from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. Or again, it depends on your audience. Maybe it's after hours. It's like 5 to midnight every day of the week. So again, the more specific you can be, remember with location, 30 miles or less around your radius, really tight times and windows where you think where the audience is really going to be open to seeing your ad, and very specific with the product and service. All of this is going to push your ad, make sure your ad is showing up with the right people at the right time. And then, of course, you're going to be able to go in and manage your ad budget. But what you see over here, this is a good example. So you're going to see, and the other thing with smart campaigns that I like is they've simplified the reporting process so it doesn't overwhelm you. It just gets you focused on what are the most important things. So you can go about doing everything else you have to do to run your business. So number one, it's going to show you the number of impressions. So you can see whatever the time frame is here. There have been 137,255 people that have seen the ad. Okay, those are eyes on the ad. But remember what I said earlier, you don't pay a dime. The Spice House did not pay a dime for the people that saw the ad because you don't pay for the impressions. What you pay for are the clicks. So of those eyes that saw it, there were 214 clicks. And then you can see I've spent they've spent $144.33 to get those 214 clicks. And I'll show you a slide in a second. This is how you can start kind of doing the math on the back of a napkin where, okay, I've spent $144, I've got 214 clicks. If I've set up the conversion tracking, I'll know how many of those clicks followed through to buy my product or followed through to schedule that appointment or to get that quote. And then you can track and figure out how many of those did we close, many customers did we get, and how much revenue did we make off of each customer. And that's where you'll be able to see, well, $144 got 214 clicks. 214 clicks got me 50 customers, at $100 a pop. That's $5,000 that I've made from an ad campaign of $144. So that a little bit of an oversimplification, but that's sort of how you can kind of ballpark and know how this is working or not. Now, a real quick word, there are a couple of different options for you with the campaign. In this webinar, we're focused on those smart campaigns where everything is automated for you. Everything's working behind the scenes for you. You're not having to put a lot of thought into it. If you are a little bit more advanced, if you have a marketing background, and if you have time to spend on this daily, you don't have to do smart campaigns. You can get a little more in the weeds and hands-on with search campaigns in expert mode. And that's where you'll start managing the bidding, the ad extensions, keywords. That's where you're putting in the words, negative keyword, all that stuff. But for today, we're going to be focusing on smart campaigns. But if there's anybody out there that does want to be a little bit more advanced, let me show you how you can switch from smart campaigns to search campaigns. Basically, remember that first step when you're at the page where you're going to figure out your goal. Down at the bottom, you're going to see it says, are you a professional marketer? Switch to expert mode, and you're going to click on that, and that's going to switch you over to expert mode. And then you're going to select search and search under the campaign type. And then this is where you'll select the campaign settings. This is where you're going to be able to set up ad groups, create your own ads, and then review and launch. So this is how you would go. Remember, if you want to get more advanced, just look down here. Are you a professional marketer? Switch to expert mode. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about how do we improve our ads? How do we create really great ads? So again, a couple of tips for you to get started. Again, when you're back here, again, what is in an ad? Remember, you're going to be creating 3 different headlines, 30 characters max, so they've got to be short and to the point. You're going to have 2 description lines, each with 90 characters max. And then again, this is the most important piece for you to really zero in on. Down here, URL options, where you're putting in the page that you want to send them to, the website, if they're clicking to your website. Again, choose that most relevant page on your website that matches up exactly with your offer or your specific message. So what are some great tips for writing great ads? So number 1, a great ad is going to be relevant to the searcher's query. All right. So when you're thinking about, and then this goes into here with the keywords, you don't want to be vague. Remember, I want you to be as specific as you can. You don't want it to be all about spices, right? Because people could be typing in spices, but they may not be your customers. They may be middle school kids doing a research project on researching the history of the spice trade in India, right? And that is not your audience. So you want to think about what are those keyword themes, those keywords. So buy specialty spices, and then make sure you put those keywords, specialty spices, into your ad text so that it matches up. And then one of the biggest things that you can do, and in fact, if you want to play around with this is why you want to play around with the descriptions and the headlines and see which ones are getting the most clicks and not, is always finish with a call to action. This is what a lot of folks overlook. They'll just put in the words, the phrases, hey, we're selling this, we have this, but then they just leave it at that. Tell them what you want them to do. Call now, order today, click here for 25% off Himalayan sea salt, right? Tell them exactly what to do and what they're going to get. When you do this, it's like magic, right? But it works. It's going to significantly increase you getting those clicks that are going to your site. Down here, there's some other great little tips down here at g.co/TechSadTips that you can go and look at as well. And then some other tips to improve your ad. Again, what I talked about, focus your ads on a specific service, on a specific product, and again, be as descriptive as you can in the ad. Keep it simple. Test lots of different ad variations, go in, test those some different descriptions, see which ones are getting you the most clicks. Go in and see regularly what are getting me the most clicks, what are not, and do more of what's working and less of what's not. Again, with smart campaigns, again, you really don't have to worry too much about the actual keywords because the keyword themes are going to generate relevant search phrases. So you're going to see based on these keyword themes, it'll show you, okay, these are the phrases that people are searching for as it relates to your product and service. And you'll be able to see the number of impressions on average, and then what are the number of clicks. And so you're going to be looking at all of that. And this is where, looking at essential spices, if you didn't have essential spices in your text, in your ad, you may want to go ahead and add that, right? Because that's getting a lot of clicks. Chicago spices. Again, if you're in Chicago, that's probably not going to be, specific. The more specific you get, fenugreek, if I said that right, and I don't even know what that is. But you can see that gets a lot of people seeing it, but a very small amount clicking on it. But guess what? If people are clicking on an ad about fenugreek, they're probably really interested in that. So those might not be a lot of clicks, but those can be really solid leads. Next, ad extensions. I talked about this a little bit. Again, Google and your smart campaigns are going to do this automatically, which is awesome. So you don't have to go down the rabbit hole with this. And what the ad extensions are, there's a couple of different ones. These are, you remember I showed you. So for example, over here on this ad, you can see the ad with the normal headline, exquisite spices and seasonings, online spice store. You have the description, and then you see these little links that show down at the bottom. Buy virtual gift cards, bestsellers. These are two specific links. These are what are called ad extensions, which allow a little bit more detail and people to link and go directly to specific pages on your site. So these can be things like call extensions. So this is where the number would pop up where you can click to call. Location extensions. This is where your location is. They could click and go to. Site link extensions. That's what these are. They're going to specific pages on your site. And then call out extensions to, this is where it's pulling specific information from your different website. And again, it's all designed to help drive and get more engagement and more clicks on your ad for more specific information that you're trying to communicate. All right. So finally, let's talk a little bit about how you can measure success. So it all goes back to the beginning. Okay. Remember, what was your advertising goal? Did you want to get calls? Keep track of those calls. Do you want to get more clicks to your website and sell your product or get people to sign up for an appointment or to download a guide? What is it? Or do you want to get that foot traffic into your location? And with all goals, write them down. So set that goal today before you run and say, I want to run an ad campaign. And my goal is I want to get 20 leads a month. If I can just get 20 leads per month from my website, that would be awesome. Not a huge number. Remember, baby steps if you're beginning at the first time. But just imagine if you could get 20 leads, and let's say they're calls, right? They call you, or maybe you're service oriented. They go to your webpage, and the call to action is schedule a free consultation, right? So maybe it's 20 people per month sign up for the free consultation. Then you have those consultations, right? And imagine if you got 20, these are 20 leads you never had before, 20 leads. And then if you could close 50% of those, right? How much money would you make? That's how you can begin to break this down and understand, is your ad campaign working or not? Now, the one thing that I'll say, going back to clicks and then making sales, if you run an ad campaign and you're getting a lot of clicks, so you're paying for those clicks or calls, but then people aren't buying from you, or they're not signing up for an appointment, whatever that call to action is on your page, that means you actually have a successful ad. Okay, I wouldn't say campaign, but a successful ad, because you do have it. It is enticing enough to get people to click or to call. to take advantage of that offer. But if they click or call, you're paying that money, but then they're not following through and buying or signing up. That means, again, the number one issue 90% of the time, look at where you're sending them from the ad. And is it too vague? Is it just the homepage? Am I making them work for it? How can I just in that 1 in 5 seconds or less, they click over, they see the page, they're like, yep, that's what I want, and click, I'm gonna buy it, or click, I'm gonna sign up for the appointment. That's the issue. Whenever there's that disconnect, it's usually on your page or wherever you're sending them to. And then if you're getting the calls yourself and you're not closing, that's that's where you want to work on the salesmanship there. All right. So again, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but how do we measure our marketing? Again, it's going to show you, your report's going to show you how many times people see your ads, how many times people click on the ad. This is what you're paying. This is free. And then conversions are, of course, what we really want. When they click on an ad, does it result in a desirable outcome? So that could be, did they buy the product? It could be, did they schedule an appointment? Did they get a quote? Did they download a guide? Did they watch a video? It could be lots of different things. It doesn't have to be simply buying a product. Again, showing you kind of how they simplify the reports and what matters and what doesn't. Again, you're going to see Spice House spent $150. They got 1,000 impressions. Good, but didn't pay for this, but that's awesome. People saw my ad. Got 100 clicks for $150, and I got 5 calls. And then if it's the product oriented, you can click on this get started over here to set up the optional conversion. So this is where you would set that up, where then it would go and you would link up to analytics, and then that would track, okay, of the 100 clicks, 50 of them actually went through and bought. And the average price was $25 or $30. And then you would sort of do the math, and that shows you for $150 that I spent on an ad campaign, depending on how much your customer revenue is or lifetime revenue, $150 may bring in $1,000, $5,000, it depends. What you don't want to do is spend $150 and not make any money. That's a key. Deming's key to business success. Don't spend more money on advertising than you bring in. All right, so this is going to show you how to do all of that. So to link your Google Ads to Google Analytics, again, when you link this is where you're going to be able to see from start to finish, from the time people saw your ad to the time they clicked. Now it hands off that baton of reporting to Google Analytics. Now they're on the page of your website. You know what page they went to. You know how long they were on there. You know a little bit about the person that's there. And then you can see, then did they take that next step? And then they go to the shopping cart page, or did they go and sign up for the appointment? And you'll see how many people did that, how many people did that. And with conversion tracking, you'll see how many people bought, how much the cost was per product. And that's where you actually literally can see the dollars that you've made through your website. So if you want to get started with Google Analytics and linking that up, again, you already have your Google Ads account. So if you haven't done this, you can go to g.co/analytics. And again, this is another free, all this is free. You can set up your account. You'll come here, hit start for free button, and it'll take you through the step-by-step process of setting up a property in your analytics account. A property is a fancy name for either your website or a web app, if you have an app. And basically what you're doing here, without getting too technical, is it's basically giving you little bits of code that you can copy and paste on each page of your website. And it's tracking code. So that's how when people come, now you're tracking, and that's where you are able to report and know who came, how many people came, what did they do on the page, and follow all the way through on your website. So again, if you want to get started on that, go to g.co/analytics, and then you can link up those two resources. So finally, kind of doing a recap and resources here, we just talked about ads, right? But keep an eye out, because one of the things I love about Lori and SCORE Piedmont chapter, we're doing a whole series on how to be effective in using all of Google's free services. This is the only one we do where there is a little bit of things you got to pay for, obviously. But think about all the different ways of a customer journey that you can reach them online, not just advertising, okay? And you've probably heard, and this is such an outdated number, people said it used to be people needed to see or hear your brand 7 times before they'd buy. That's not true anymore. It may have been back in the day, but now you need as many as 120 different touch points, okay, for somebody to really consider your product and service. Now that sounds like a lot, but as I walk you through this journey, you're going to see it's not really. So again, let's think about all the ways you can touch somebody online, right? Going back here, you want to get a gift for a foodie friend, right? So what do? We search for those gift ideas, right? And then when we search, we find, there's this website. Now this could either be our ad that we ran, or it could be organic search. And now we see the link for the Spice House down here and we click on it. So then guess what? We click on that. Maybe we went to their Google business profile, which is free for you guys as well. Another webinar for another time. And then they're reading the reviews, right? And then maybe they start going over to YouTube and they start looking for recipes. They're on YouTube now, right? So now you have a whole channel that you've set up and you've got videos that you have about how to spice up mac and cheese, right? And again, this is another webinar that we teach. Then you come down here, say you like that, but guess what? Maybe it's the case like me. Maybe you don't want to wait for it to be shipped to you. Maybe a lot of times I do this too. I want to get a gift, but I want to write a personal note and wrap it and send it to them myself rather than just having it delivered. Very impersonal. So, okay, I don't want to order online. Let me see, is there a store nearby where I can go and get that product, right? Oh, yep, there it is. All right, yep, they're open. I'm looking at Google Business Profile. How do I get there? I go to Google Maps, I get directions. I go there, I buy it. Now, when I'm there and I'm checking out, I'm giving them my email. Now they have me as an email they can promote to me, and they give me a buy one, get one coupon. Okay, so you can see this is how you're putting all of this together, all the different ways that you're connecting with your customer. And all of these are basically free for you to do with it, except the ad campaign sort of amplifies that. All right, a couple of little resources, and I'm going to get to your questions. I love this. This is Primer. This is a free app that you can download onto your phone from Google Play or the App Store. Great, short, engaging, and fun marketing lessons, business lessons that you can do in 3 to 5 minutes. Really, really cool, really fun. If you ever want to do a deep dive into any of Google's products, we do have what's called Skillshop. And these, in fact, as a trainer, I had to get certified last night on analytics. I had to do this. But, we talked about, I gave you a highlight, right? A beginning of Google Ads. You can go here and take courses, free online courses. They're free, learn at your own pace. You can really become an expert in Google Ads, analytics, YouTube, you name it. Learn at your own pace, and you can also get Google product certified. This is a great resource for you. If you ever have any real technical or complex questions, and I'm going to answer your questions right now, but go here. This is our support page for Google Ads specifically. Okay, support.google.com/Google-ads. When you go here, if you ever have anything complex, just simply type in the question, hit enter, and it'll take you through a step-by-step process of how to fix that. Oftentimes, it's got some video tutorials as well. All right, so to wrap up, again, I mentioned the Google Matching Ad Credit, and I'm going to take your questions right now. So this is the link, and the way this will work is if you go and do exactly what I've just taught, you create your ad account, come back to this link and click on this and follow the steps. They have matching ad credits. It changes all the time. Sometimes it's $100, sometimes it's $150, it changes. So let's say you decide, Deming, this is awesome. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to spend $100 of my own money on an ad campaign. Well, if they have matching ad credit of up to $100, they will basically, you follow the steps, they'll drop that into your account. And now you can run a $200 campaign rather than just a $100 campaign. So that's sort of how that works. I'm going to take your questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lori, and she's got going to wrap up, and she has a survey too. But this is for us, the Grow with Google program. If you have any feedback about today, if you learned it, if you were excited, you learned something new, you really got a lot out of it. This is, you can do the little photo thing, or you can go here and provide that feedback. We love to hear that feedback. And you can also, if you want to, you can type it into the question tab too. And this is good for us. I always like to ask folks at the end, what is the number one takeaway? Number one thing that you learned? What was that aha or wow moment you didn't know about before that now you're going to take and now you're going to do something with it? Because it's important to do something with it. And the other thing that I like to ask, and again, you can type this into the questions, is, was this presented in a way that you felt you could understand? Because a lot of times Google stuff can get wonky and technical. So I always try to present it in a way that's easy to understand, baby steps, you can do it, easy, not going to take a lot of time, and you understand it. Because if it's not understandable, a lot of times people freeze up and they don't do anything. So that's good feedback for us as well. Okay, so I'm jumping into question and answer. How would you recommend, so this is a little bit different, but how would you recommend changing your Google account password? You should be able to go through the normal process of the username and password. And if you don't see that the password is working, there should be that little click, that little option for you to update your password. Another thing you could do if that's an issue is you could just create a new Google account with a new username and a new password as well.
Deming, I think he was asking how often would you recommend changing?
How often? That is that's a good question. I don't change mine, but a lot of times if you hear security folks talk about, or when I worked for big, Constant Contact and folks like that, they would have you change your password like quarterly. So maybe you could change it quarterly. So gotcha. Yeah, I misread that. That was a good one. George is asking, what is the best radius for zip codes? 3 miles, 5, 10. It really depends. Again, I love, if I'm starting out or I'm running an ad campaign, I would stick to 30 miles or less. I like keeping it super tight in a super local market. Another question is, can you set up the campaign to automatically stop when you reach a predetermined? Yes, that's what I was saying, is that you can set a maximum monthly budget. So let's say it's $200. When those clicks or when those calls get to $200, it will automatically stop on its own. And then you can always go in and pause it permanently if you want to, or for however long, 3 or 4 months, and then pick it back up. And then a question, how to exclude visitors you don't want. So for instance, Magnolia Greenhouse gets misclicked when folks are looking for, say, Magnolia Greens, a salad restaurant. Is this a Google ad function? So a couple things that are happening there. One is probably take a look at your message and make it super specific. One thing that I would do, and I can explain it to you, but it's going to be better for you to go back to here and type that in. This is why I put this link on here, because it's hard to do sometimes on a webinar to explain it. But if you go here to the Google Ads, type that in. You remember I talked about expert mode and moving over into that search versus smart campaigns. That's where you can go in and you can type in negative keywords, that's where you put like a little negative. And when people are searching for Magnolia Greens, you might put a negative to like greens. So one of the examples we used with Spice House as an example of that is, you don't want people out accidentally clicking on your ad when they're searching for the Spice Girls, right? Completely different, has nothing to do with what you have to do. So negative keywords would help you with that. And then the other thing is, again, just trying to be as specific about what it is that you do in there. So that's a good, but go here, type that in, it'll show you exactly how to do that. That's a really good question. All right, good questions. And let me go here, and I'm going to turn it back over to Lori if we don't have any other questions or anything in the chat. But these are great questions.
And again, Deming, thank you for another outstanding workshop. We appreciate your time. And for all of you, we have one more workshop in Deming series next month. And that is on December 15th from 9 to 10 Eastern. And the title is Make Better Decisions with Analytics. So now we're getting into the analytics. So another very valuable workshop. And then for next year, I will be working with Deming to set up another series for the first part of the year. So be looking for that as well. We also have a YouTube library that you can reference through our website. And if you missed any of his series, you can go on into YouTube and search for those. So those are all available to you as well. You want to go back a little bit?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, no, you're fine. And I think even one or okay, yeah. So request a mentor today. We got into that a little bit, but this is a free service to you. So if you have just a few minor questions, issues, concerns, go onto our website and request a mentor. You can just have a couple sessions and get your questions answered, issues addressed. We have many volunteers with outstanding expertise that can help you. So just know that's available to you, and you can go onto our website and request a mentor. We are also always looking for volunteers. So we have 270 plus chapters nationwide, and we are look for volunteers in all different areas, as you can see from this slide here. So please, if you have time, if you want to be a mentor, especially, we are always looking for mentors. So you can go onto the website and also go to the volunteer link as well. Okay, and then here are just all of our social media links. So you will get a copy of this presentation. Deming, if you could send me the presentation, I will get that out to everyone that registered with the recording, so you can reference that. But again, look for, go onto our website for the December 15th, the last workshop of the series. That'll be another outstanding one, and go ahead and register for that. And also we have a workshop calendar that you can register for many other workshops, and you can just go onto the calendar and hit the actual workshop title, and it'll take you right to the registration. So thank you all for attending. Deming, thank you for another great workshop. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing you again. And Lori, thank you so much for hosting us. Love the series, and love the great comments. So good luck with your marketing and your ad campaigns. And I look forward to hearing success stories in the future. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.